everybody, today we'll be making our own homemade tomato sauce. And for that, you will be seeing me in my backyard garden. I'll see you there. So the reason why I brought you to my backyard garden is because we're going to be plucking some oregano and basil leaves. So this is our oregano right here. As you can see, this is our Italian oregano, and the reason why we're going to be using Italian oregano is because of the fact that we're making tomato sauce. And tomato sauce is, well, we're going to be making some Italian tomato sauce. How much oregano you need is up to you on how much you like oregano. So I'll be taking about maybe three leaves. So I don't want to remove all of the leaves from this oregano, so we have another oregano, which I'll see you there. So I'm going to harvest some more oregano, and I'm going to harvest about 5 leaves. So I'm going to take some oregano leaves from here as well. So come in closer, have a zoom in on the oregano, Italian oregano. So this is how you know it's oregano. You could also smell it to see if it's oregano, and oregano will have a very strong smell to it. So this is also another type of oregano. However, it's not the same Italian oregano as you can see. However, be warned with this oregano as it can grow very easily and very rapidly. Over there, in that side, if you can look towards that side, over there in that garden, it was filled with this oregano. So we had to remove some of it because of the fact that it kept growing and it interrupted our walking path. Okay, so this is another type of oregano. Let's move on to our basil. So this is our basil right here. Now, the best way of identifying plants is by smell. So if you're not sure if something's oregano or if something's basil, just smell it. So we'll be collecting, since these basil leaves are so small, we'll be collecting like 20 of them. I'll be actually collecting the branch instead of just the stem, instead of just the leaves, as that will make it easier for us to take later. So maybe just like two twigs. 2 twigs is all we need. And there we go. This is how much we're having for our basil. You can zoom in into the plant if you want. And this is what we'll be using for our tomato sauce. So our ingredients for our homemade tomato sauce is our tomatoes, of course, our garlic, our 1 onion, and our oregano and basil leaves that we'll add to the end of our homemade tomato sauce. We're using 5 tomatoes and 5 to 7 garlic cloves. Garlics, not garlic cloves. You can use how much garlic you want, depending on how much you like garlic. We'll be using 1 entire red onion as well. Right, so let's get started on cutting our tomatoes. You want to cut them by their width, then just cut them in half, and then cut them into 6 pieces. 6 pieces for 1/2. So you can come close if you want to see the tomatoes. So this is how I'm going to cut the tomatoes, as you can see. This is the way I'm cutting the tomatoes. Right, cut them just like this, lengthwise, and then 3 separate pieces. Just like that. And we'll be using it for the rest of our, we'll be doing the same thing for the rest of our tomatoes. Now for our garlic, we'll be mincing them. Now there's 2 ways of peeling garlic. One way, as you know, is just smashing it, and that will make it so that you can peel it very easily, just like so. Right? And then we'll just be mincing it. Just like so. Another way of cutting our garlic is just by cutting it in half. Now don't do this if you are scared of cutting your fingers, as you don't want to do that. Now you can just easily get rid of the peel just like that. So this is a very good way of peeling your garlic. And then we can just mix them again. Just like so. You don't need to make your garlic too tiny. I'm just going to cut them into length size like this. Okay, so that's for our garlic and tomato. Now let's go on to our red onion. So to peel your red onion, just cut off the buds of the onion, just like so. Right, and what I like to do is that if I'm having trouble peeling the onion like this, it's actually really sticky to the sides of it. What I like to do is I just like to put some water on top of it, and that will show any peeling, any place for peeling, so you can remove the skin more easier. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So now we're just going to peel the onion. You know how to peel an onion. It's pretty standard stuff. You can put this over running water, but I don't want to waste the water. Right. Now to cut an onion is very simple. You're just going to cut it in half. Find the bud of it. So this is where the bud is, as you can see by this white part. Right. This is not the bud because there's not that much white part. This is whiter. So now we can cut it from this end. You don't want to cut it all the way through to the onion. Just cut it so that you get pieces like this. Right, then cut it, slightly tilt your knife. Just like so. And then you can hold the onion together, and then you'll be able to just cut it like this. And this is how you can cut your onion with minimal waste. There you go, you don't want to use the bud. And we'll just be doing the same thing for our other onion. So I'll talk to you after all of this prep work is finished. So when making your tomato sauce, what you want to do is you want to put this at maybe a medium-high flame. So just about that. Now, if you have olive oil, use your olive oil or any oil will work. We're going to be using a wooden spoon because a wooden spoon I find is easier to stir with. At least stir the ingredients with, and it's a lot more easier to do. Right, so now we're just going to wait for it to get hot. I think there was a little bit of water in the oil, so it's causing this reaction. This is why you don't put oil with water, okay? So we're just going to wait for the reaction to end, and then after it ends, we can put our ingredients in. What we've done is we've moved our onions and we've moved our garlic into one plate, and we've moved our tomatoes to another plate. And the reason why is because we're going to be browning these onions and garlic, and then after they've successfully browned, we're going to be adding our tomatoes. Just so you know, you don't want to add your tomatoes into the food processor, as that will make them too liquidy, causing your tomato sauce to be too liquidy. The way to counteract that would just be by cooking it for longer, but we don't want to cook it for that long. Okay, so now it's ready. Now it's smoking actually. So we're going to lower the heat to medium flame. We're going to take our onions and garlic and we're going to just add it in. Just like so. Now we're going to stir it. So you want to pan down and look into our pan. We've used this type of pan. It's quite round. Let's open the pan here. It's quite round. We have it circular, and this will be perfect for making our tomato sauce. As you can see, our onions and our garlic has turned a bit brown. Now is the perfect time to be adding our tomato. Just so you know, I added a little bit of oil, and the reason why is just because I wanted to make sure that nothing burns. Go backwards. Right. So now we're going to be adding our tomatoes in. So we have 5 tomatoes, remember. We're going to be adding this in, and also, we don't need to stir them gently. What you want to do is you want to break down your tomatoes. And the reason why is that will release the juice. Now, what we're going to be adding here is some salt. And the reason why we'll be adding some salt is so that the tomatoes will give out their water more. So the tomatoes will leak out their water, allowing our tomato sauce to be made. So we're just going to be using a teaspoon here. We're going to be putting about one spoon of salt, 1 spoon of kosher salt. And that's all we need to add. So if you have fine salt works fine as well. Now, the amount of salt you want to put in depends on what you like in taste. If you want your tomato sauce to be salty, then put more salt, of course. If you want it to be less salty, put less salt. In any case, salt will be really good for making it so that the tomatoes give out their water. Now we can lower this temperature to about medium-low flame. And we can just wait for these tomatoes to give out the liquid. We don't need to be stirring them for long now. Now we're just going to wait. So sometimes you want to smash the tomatoes just so that you can speed up the process. of the water being given out. But you don't need to do this. Now we're going to be cooking them for about 30 minutes. So when you're making your tomato sauce, we've taken it out and we're going to so with our tomato sauce, we still want to crush the tomatoes a bit more. And to do this and to achieve this, what you can do is you can put this at high heat, right? So the reason why we put it initially was just to have it so that we saw some liquid there. And we want some liquid to be our tomato sauce. But now what we can do is we can simply put it at high heat and put the lid on top so that now, since the water has already been given out, now we can also put the lid on top. So you want to check again, you want to check this frequently, about 1 minute every time. You want to check it very frequently to make sure that it's not burning, and we'll tell you when it gets to a consistency where we can use it. Right, so this is, our tomato is properly smashed here. As you can see, didn't actually put it in high flame, put it in medium flame. You can put it in high flame if you have more tomatoes, but since we have less, we just put it in medium flame. So as you can see, our tomatoes is quite smashed. And this is the good consistency that we want for our tomato sauce. So now let's wrap things up. Here. I'm going to put it into low flame, and the reason why is because we're just going to be adding our herbs now. So what you want to add is your oregano and basil that you chopped up. So what you just want to do is I take the oregano, I just make a roll. I put the basil leaves inside of the middle of the roll. And now you have your oregano and basil mix. Now you just cut it into pieces like these. And there you have it. You have your oregano and basil leaves right here, like this. Now we can just put them inside of our tomato sauce. We also want some pepper. So we have some pepper right here. And we're going to be mincing it. Or sorry, not mincing it, but smashing it. Right? So now here's our pepper right here. As you can see here, that's our pepper. Now we can add that into our tomato sauce. That's good. And then just take your wooden spoon and now we just stir it and we can reduce to zero flame. And now we're done with our tomato sauce. This is our tomato sauce that we have here. Right, so now we're also going to be adding our apple cider vinegar. And the reason why is because this will add a little bit of acidity. So we're just going to be using a cap's worth. We don't want to add too much vinegar. Just be using a cap's worth. That should be enough. And now we just stir it, and then you can serve this tomato sauce to whatever dish you want. You can put it with, let's say, potato cheese balls. You can put it in pizza. You can put it in French fries, salsa, anything you want. In any case, I hope you enjoyed our tomato recipe, our tomato sauce recipe. And yeah, be sure to check out our other videos as well. Thank you so much and goodbye.